So, have you found yourself struggling to get any sort of meaningful work done? Maybe you're just trying to write an essay and you got sidetracked by, I don't know, odd things. If that's you, then let me introduce you to today's topic, Parkinson's Law. Stick around to the end of the video so that you too can find how you can apply this law to your life in order to increase your productivity. First, a little bit of background is necessary in order to understand this topic. Who exactly was Parkinson? Well, he was a chap born in the UK who had a passion for naval history. How is naval history related to this video? Well, I won't lie to you, it really isn't. His fame came about in 1957 when he wrote in the newspaper The Economist a very famous quote: "Work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion." Basically, if you need to get an essay done in an hour and you set yourself a deadline of an hour, then you will get it done in that time. Meanwhile, if you tell yourself that you have the whole day to do it, it will take the whole day to do it because you're going to get sidetracked a lot. The logical question to ask yourself is, wouldn't that give birth to poor quality results? And that's a damn good question. The answer is that it depends. If you give yourself an impossible time frame, then yes, you will rush the final product and it will be of poor quality. However, if you are realistic with your estimations, then you will produce something as good as you expected it to be. In order to exemplify this, let's imagine that you have to move your laundry from the basket into the washing machine. If you don't give yourself a deadline to do that, let's say 5 minutes, then you'll go the whole day without tossing your clothes into the washing machine and perhaps you'll even forget about it. The reason why this happens isn't ultimately understood. However, there are a couple of reasons as to why this happens. First, we tend to prioritize things that we believe are important. This ties perfectly in the laundry basket example, as you could definitely have better things to do on your mind rather than tossing some clothes into the washing machine. Another reason, especially for students, is that procrastination gives you an easy way out. If you procrastinate a task and you eventually miss the deadline, you could just say that you did not have enough time, therefore saving your face. The last reason I want to state here is correlated with a trait, perfectionism. Perfectionists sometimes won't even start a task if they don't think that it's going to turn out amazing, or at least how they imagined it would be. Therefore, they deem it's just better to not start it at all than to embarrass themselves with something that's not what they expected it to be. I myself have applied this law with great results. The main task that I have to do is creating content for you guys, which is something very easy to deviate from. For example, when I'm recording a video, I may randomly get a thought in my head which tells me to do something in the post-processing part, which is going to make me stop and think about that, and I will lose valuable time when I could be recording instead. By setting a deadline, I essentially create a barrier against procrastination, because if I don't get the task done in that time frame, I will feel disappointed and I will feel like I cannot do that anymore, and my morality will drop down. The reason why this works is not fully known. However, it is believed to stimulate the brain into thinking that if they complete the task ahead of its deadline, a reward will be coming, which is something that our brains and minds always want. Or at least this is what the temporal motivation theory suggests. How can you apply this law to your life? Well, there are a couple of steps, and the first one you've already probably done, and that step is called failing. You have to fail to apply the law. By failing to apply this law and procrastinating, you will get some insight into how much tasks actually take, and this will be great in the future when you want to decide of how much time you should attribute to each task. Also, it is important to know that tasks usually take less than you imagine them to take, meaning that you should jump right in as soon as you get them, because the more time you spend pondering about the task, the more time you're going to decide that it actually takes to do, when it doesn't really do that. In order to exemplify what I just said earlier, if I have to do an essay for, I don't know, let's say Romanian class, I will set myself a deadline of an hour. In that hour, I will get a product which may not be finished. However, since I have finished it in the first hour, I can go back and add a bit more work to it and polish it so that I can submit it. So it only took 1 hour and I don't know, a few more minutes, but I have something done. This law is especially important to students who are juggling a lot of work. Anxiety and stress can make your brain shut down, and at one point it's going to make it just collapse on itself, and you will start to feel demotivated, and you'll eventually just stop trying altogether. Procrastination can actually help a bit here because you will subconsciously make yourself deadlines which you will follow, therefore keeping yourself in line. In conclusion, if you want to stop procrastinating your work, you need to get right into it as soon as you have it assigned, and you need to set deadlines for yourself so you don't end up procrastinating your work. If you like today's topic, make sure to like and subscribe, since I will make more videos on psychology and how to improve your life.